welcome back to part 2 of my conversation with John Martineau. So I have to out myself real quick. If you have watched this far, you'll know that there's no video on the first half, and that is my fault. I didn't hear a beep that usually kind of tells me that something is about to stop. And so the first half is just audio like a true podcast, and this will have video until we're done talking, Johnny. I promise.
It's your loss. It's going to be a serious hit to your subscriber base.
Oh gosh, I think so.
With this,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not being there, this is the moneymaker.
I know. And the thing is, think about how many times I urged people to smash subscribe, hit like, hit the bell, and give me a like on this video. There's no video; it's just audio. It's
amateur
awful.
Hour.
It is. No, I can't. I can only blame myself. What I can promise you is that from here on out, the rest of our conversation, there is, we are live on the video medium, so people can see us.
We got the real deal here.
We got the real deal. I think everything should be good now.
Good enough.
No. I know everything's good. So now that we got that out of the way. Let us go back to, I guess, the end of Prevail. That led to Disconviction, yes?
Yes.
What was the deal with Disconviction Take 2?
Well,
I guess.
At the end of Prevail, let's talk about the end of Prevail first.
Sure.
And how
absolutely.
It kind of fizzled out. We had some of those shows I spoke about.
Yep.
The big shows at Howlers with the the rabid fan base of young Grand Prairians. Those were some of the glory days, the best times, and shortly after that, things just kind of disappeared.
Got it.
I'm not sure. Maybe some of them kids grew up and moved out of town.
Sure, of course. Absolutely.
The summer hit there, and then I guess we just did a bit of a hiatus, and we played a show at, I believe it was Peace Starts at Home Outdoors.
Yep.
Does that sound right?
Yep.
I think that was probably one of our last shows.
Okay.
We did some acoustic, some electric stuff, and I think it was one of the last Peace Starts at Home Battle of the Bands.
Yeah, got it.
We played there, kind of almost like a farewell thing. Mm-hmm. And I think Curtis Merriman had decided to move on from the band.
Okay.
I believe that was kind of the start of the end for us. And we were looking into replacing him with a different guitar player. And at that time, we weren't, I don't know, I guess we just weren't all feeling it. It was kind of, make or break time. And I think Shane was kind of getting tired of the whole thing too. And he was going through a little bit of personal stuff in his life too with I think a big breakup or something like that. And so we all kind of went our own way a little bit and chilled off of it long enough to decide that, okay, we're going to move along. Mm-hmm. And we shut her down for a few months throughout the summer.
Okay. Yep.
And it wasn't long. I would say a couple months went by, and me and Shane, we were obviously pretty good friends from being in a band for so long and hanging out, 3 nights a week, and we were like brothers, right? So, and we stayed in touch, and we hung out quite a bit, and we decided, eventually, like I said, probably a couple months later, maybe we should do a different project. Maybe we should just
right.
So me and him started writing music together, just me and him. And we had a couple tunes that we put together. And, I think I remember me and him performing at my brother's grad at the college, actually.
Oh, wow.
We had a couple little amps, and we just
nice.
We might have played some cover songs or something, a couple tunes, just with me and my bass guitar and amp and him and his electric guitar, maybe even an acoustic amped up. I can't remember, but we jammed a couple tunes out there, and we kind of, were sticking with it a little bit. And we got into contact with Jaron Neufeld. Shout out,
cool.
Jaron. Bone Crusher.
Jaron Neufeld. Bone Crusher. Yes, that's right.
Guy was 6'2", $120.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the Bone Crusher name was ironic. Classic, man. Such a good dude.
Absolutely.
I miss the guy. I haven't seen him in years. But anyway, he kind of what happened was near the end of Prevail, we kind of went through a drummer change at that time, and he came in then and did some recording with us and kind of finished up Prevail with us. being a young man too, he was probably instrumental in like gaining some of the high school following for us.
Oh,
too,
sure.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
he was like, I think
That makes sense.
just 18, like just in high school, still like just graduating when he joined the band. Right?
Wow.
And funny thing is, we heard of him from when we were like out a drummer at this time. We heard of him through GP Music. You know, there was old Mitch.
Mitch Diesel.
Mitch Diesel, yeah.
Mitchy D, shout out.
He turned us on to Jaron. He said, I know this kid. And at the time, I mentioned we were influenced by Thrice. At the time, Thrice had an album out called Artist in the Ambulance, which was kind of a big thing at the time, 03 or something
Huge
like
record.
that. And I remember Jaron, or Mitch saying that Jaron could play front to back that entire album.
Wow.
Right? And I'm thinking, wow, this kid's got the mustard.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, he's the man. So we called him up, had him in. Dynamite. Yeah. Dynamite drummer.
Incredible player.
Like, okay, well, this is the real deal. We got him in. And, I mean, we had an album to record in a couple weeks. We had booked in the, we had that drummer transition just happen at an unfortunate time. And so we had him in, and he had to learn the songs in a couple weeks, and he nailed them on the album. Like, he had just this insane, like, awesome fills, and just like he's coming out of left field with all this crazy stuff, and we're just blown away by it.
Just an incredible drummer.
Just a savant, man. Like, so we went to him, me and Shane. We decided, well, let's just do this like a small band thing and just try out maybe moving in a bit of a different direction from what we had going on before. So we rented this room in the front. It was like an office style room in the front of an old chicken coop, man, about 15 kilometers out of town. Yeah, off of like a friend of a friend or something like that. This old guy who had some land and this old building out there, and he wasn't using it for anything. So we carted out our gear out there, and we started writing music out there. Wow. Yeah, it was really cool, man. And we found it really easy to focus in a 3-piece situation. You know what I mean? Like, there was a little bit less. Well, it's just a little bit less to get 3 guys on board than it is to get 5. Obviously, you know how it is, right? The bigger the band, sometimes the more difficult the logistics are of it. 100%. So, it worked out really well. And, we had a killer chemistry, the 3 of us, and it was pretty cool. We kind of focused on getting a little bit more, I want to say progressive, but I mean, it's not like we were like Rush or something like that, or like some crazy progressive, but we had like focused on maybe like lengthening our songs and experimenting a little more with dynamics than we did with the Prevail thing, which was more of like a straight up like emo punk rock. Right. And this was kind of more of a, like I said, dynamics were involved. Like, there's a little more exploring the space, man. Yeah, like a cowbell. But, so it was neat that way, and we wrote some like 6 or 7 minute long songs and things like that, and we wrote an EP in about 4 months. Went back to Black Box again. Cool. Bang that out in 3 or 4 days.
That's right. Yeah.
We did our second recording at Black Box as well. So Prevail, and then I think Prevail wrapped up in about 05, and then we went from 5 to 7. We went with I think, or maybe 5 to 8. We went with This Conviction, and so after we were like jamming for a few months in this like chicken coop type joint, the fall was rolling around. Yeah, winter was coming out, and I ended up. Sort of like sneaking into a sweet apartment downtown. Oh, okay. Down on Main Street. Yeah, above like, do you remember the old Aces and Spades rock shop?
Oh, right across from Al's News.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
We lived above there.
Because Julie Booth lived above Al's News.
She was my neighbor.
Yeah,
she was across the street, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And
oh my gosh,
so
good times.
We ended up at it was like a 1,200 square foot apartment, like up there, like a massive apartment, right? Nice. And we had like this one bedroom that was like it was like 18 by 24 feet or something like that. Like it was like a huge living room, you know what I mean? So we just jammed a couch in there and all our freaking fat stacks and whatever else, right?
Of course. And, for reference, back in the day, everyone nowadays is hauling like a Helix.
Neo cabs.
Exactly, yeah. If you're hauling cabs, you're hauling Neo cabs. You got a Helix.
I'm talking like the fridge, man. I had an 810 Ampeg like classic stack.
Did you have an SVT4 Pro?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, man, the classic
Pro.
move.
Yep. The old Les Claypool.
How many stacks did everybody have? Half stacks?
Yeah, I think everybody was on the half stack train. Well, it was just Shane at that time, but so I moved in there, and Shane and I had our amps, and then Jaron had his drum set up there, and then I shortly after that I had one of these cats around town that I jammed with a few years back. He come out of rehab. Actually, he came out of rehab, and I know he was a phenomenal guitar player and a good guy, but he was having some struggles in his life.
Sure.
And we reconnected. We kind of ran into each other.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, man." It was Jeremy Gustafson.
Shout out Jeremy Gustafson.
Shout out Jeremy,
yes.
who at this point was we invited him to join this conviction because we were thinking about adding a second guitar player, and Jeremy's got this style, man. He's got this like timing. He's got in his head that is just phenomenal. Like he's got some really cool, unorthodox guitar ideas. You know what I mean? He's a magician when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so it was just a really easy decision for us to say, hey, man, I said, hey, I know you're just like getting your shit back on track. So why don't you come over to my place? Come stay with me, man. I got a room that's open. You can rent a room off me, jump into my band, and if things go well and you can stay on the straight and narrow, man, things are good. And if they're not, I have to kick you out of my band, out of my house. And, I mean, there was a lot of different factors in his life at that point, obviously, that were like positive influences on him. But I like to think that some of that influence that I had on him helped him to just like, the incentive, because he's a passionate musician too. One of those guys who has a heart for it. The incentive of that, a couple of obviously other things, was one of the things that helped him straighten himself out, man. Big time.
That's amazing.
And, it was huge for us, man. And he's such a good dude and such an amazing musician that I'm super happy to be able to say that, man. But he jumped in there and started writing music with us, and I mean, things instantly became better when he joined the band. The sound was fuller, and it was basically like 2 lead guitars at that time.
We were
doing some like pushing our boundaries as musicians, and I mean, I don't think we achieved the I guess you could call it commercial success, even locally, that we did with Prevail. We just, it wasn't the same hype, the same buzz, the same fans, the same kids. We did change our sound a little bit, but I mean, at that time too, like, I think it maybe was nearing the end of the whole emo thing. And, we were trying to kind of get out of it and get into more of a big boy music, more grown up sound. But at the same time, it just never really caught on. But, we had a lot of fun. We played a lot of shows. We made a lot of friends. And we took ourselves just as seriously as ever. You know what I mean? Of course. Yeah. We did it. We pushed it. After that happened too, I think we played it for maybe a year and a half together. Jeremy and Shane continued on as a 2-piece.
I remember that.
Like a acoustic act. And they had like incredible music. Man. They had I think that was probably honestly the best iteration of this conviction. They had such a cool thing. It kind of threw back to how I talked about before with Shane in the beginning being like more well suited to that like softer
dashboard
style.
confessional type thing.
And I mean, obviously their sound had progressed beyond a dashboard confessional sound, something wholly their own. But that they sat where they needed to sit in terms of tones and things like that. And it was just really well done. And the way Jeremy's guitar playing accentuated, Shane's songwriter style.
Totally. It worked amazingly well. Yeah, they did really cool acoustic sound. Great. Again, really a showcase for Shane's vocal ability. I miss writing ability.
I gotta say, I miss, man. I just thinking back to some of the days we had in that old apartment, man. Me and Jeremy, back when we first started living together, we just used to goof around so much, man. I remember sometimes we would just get wasted, man. We just get drunk, like a couple bottles of freaking Jägermeister puking all over the place. Just the two of us, like goofing around. I remember one of the things I remember, Jeremy, you'll remember this if you're watching this. We used to take those bread ties from the bags of bread, man. Snap them in half. And you could sit them on your finger. And flick them. I just remember being in my boxer shorts all the time. And that guy's in his boxer. We're running around freaking shooting these things at each other all the time. Just, it's like college roommates or something.
Absolutely.
Good times, man.
That's incredible.
Yeah, good times. We lived together for years, me and Jeremy.
Okay.
For sure.
Got it.
Lots of good times.
Totally. Man, tell me about after your involvement in this conviction. What happened musically for you after that? Or was that like a turning point in your life in terms of what you focused on?
Well, I guess near the end of this conviction, what we did, I will speak a little bit about the end before getting to what's past that. But, for the last half of this conviction, we met this really cool band out of Dawson Creek. And forgive me, I can't even remember the name of the band.
Dawson, eh? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember the name of them, but I just remember like some of the guys, Dustin, Hussein. Oh man, I feel terrible for not remembering all their names, but they were such good dudes, and they played this kind of like similar music to what we were doing.
Oh wow,
like Coheed and Cambria influence.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they had some keys going on, and we played a few shows with them, and it was like super awesome times. I remember like going down to DC to Dawson Creek and like just hanging with them, man, like bros. Like I would go and check out their live jams and just have drinks with them and chill, and it was such good times. And then from there, I think we decided they were going to go on tour. They were going to what they were doing was they were going to follow Warped Tour.
Oh my gosh!
Play outside,
the classic move.
They were actually. I think they did it actually.
Yep.
And we were gonna go with them. We were just like, let's do it. Let's spend the whole summer. We'll take loans, whatever we need to do. We'll take loans for like $5,000 a piece, and rent a freaking van and just go it, man. And we were gonna do this thing, and then for some reason we didn't. We got scared, or that was make or break.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And we were okay, we're gonna give a strong go of this or not, and then. We all bought houses instead.
Oh, sure.
We were at that age. We were like 25 years old. We're like, me and Shane bought houses, and like Jeremy bought himself a house shortly after that too, I think. We just, and I think Jaron took off for school or went down to BC or something, as far as I know. But it's funny how that happened. We were like going to go it, and it's either now or never. And it just, one day it was like, we're going to Warped Tour, and the next day it was like, I bought a house. You know what I mean? Or like, screw it. Like
everyone at the same time. Just
we got scared. Maybe we were doubting our own. Whatever. But probably that's what happened. And we were like, we were like put on the wrong side of 30 here.
Of course.
Like 25, 26 years old. Like, I don't know, man. Should we do this really? Like, do we really want to take debt for this? And I guess we talked ourselves out of it. So we shut her down. We bought houses, and I dropped completely out of the music scene.
Oh, okay.
Shane and Jeremy continued on with their conviction, doing phenomenal. And
absolutely.
Myself, I just
what did you get into? Tell me.
Well, I worked for the city of Grand Prairie for many years, and that's where I was kind of focusing my energies, just doing the grown up thing. Because being in a band for the first half of my 20s too, I wouldn't say it really put me behind so much, because I did have the opportunity to buy a house at 25 still with a good job that I had. But even so, like I could have been ahead of where I was, and I was starting to question that, like it was like, because my music didn't necessarily pan out the way I wanted to, it was like, maybe I should start focusing on this other crap, and doing the like growing up thing.
Of course.
And I guess I got a little too into that and just like lost touch with music, man. I started, focusing on work and chasing girls a little more like seriously and things like that, which it didn't pan out till many, many years after that, but
sure. Well, it makes sense though. Like that's the thing about bands, like you always hit a point of critical mass where things are either going to level up or naturally everyone is going to pull back, right. And sometimes it's like half the band goes ahead,
it's
you
nice
switch
to push
up
it
members
to ahead, though, right?
Yeah,
like so
exactly.
At least it's like stress testing the whole system, right?
Absolutely.
It's make or break. Like
it
I
is
said before.
totally. You give it your all, and if you give it your all, then it's inevitably going to get to that point where everyone we either take a step forward like this, or it's time to call it. It's just naturally it happens.
The man from the boys.
Well, sure, absolutely.
I guess I turned into one of the boys at that point. And just
it happens to everybody, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I feel like there are a few people who were in bands all the time in the 2000s, like yourself, myself, Justin.
Right. Like we rolled through it.
A few people, absolutely.
You guys kept with it. You guys like Shane and yourself. Kept going, man. Just kept going with it for another probably 3 or 4 years after I did.
Definitely, man. After the No One's Alone thing, which probably wrapped up maybe around the same time as Prevail wrapped up.
I think so.
I think so.
Like 05, 06.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys had 2 or 3 years of good run there.
You bet. And then that's just it, right? Like 2 to 3 years of pushing it super hard.
Right.
And that can only last for so long. And so then, I mean, I continued with Calculating Collapse again for a solid 3 years.
So when did you start with that?
When?
Yeah.
So a few things
07,
happened. 06 to 07. It's like a few things happened all at once.
Right.
Like No One's Alone, I guess, officially went from 2002/3 to like the end of 2005. I think 2006 we released an album, and then the band kind of
That's
imploded.
15 years ago, by the way.
That's what, sorry?
15 years ago.
Yeah.
Insane, man.
What on earth?
We were adults.
What is the
15 years
deal?
ago.
We were my, when you put it that way.
Wow.
It's crazy.
It is.
Oh, dude, it is crazy, man. Oh, Lord. So the things that happened, the band kind of imploded. We replaced our vocalist.
In
No One's Alone.
No One's Alone,
No,
really?
So we just put out an album, and a bunch of like dumb stuff happened.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you guys had it's hard to replace a vocalist like Cadel.
Exactly. If you had to guess, who was our vocalist for a little while?
Was it someone within the band?
Guess, nope. Somebody in the scene that you would know of who stepped into being vocalist for hard rock band No One's Alone. We only played like a handful of shows. I want to say 3, maybe 5 shows with this person. And then it was kind of like just naturally a time for the band to end, nothing to do with them, but like everyone else in the band, I think the trauma
It's a tough hit to take.
Everything, everything kind of going down the way.
I mean, Cadel was a songwriter too. Like he was a strong songwriting influence, right?
Yeah,
so
you bet.
It would be different.
Nope.
It's like Gary Sharon, man, coming into Van Halen, just,
It wasn't the same. I hear you.
No, you got to tell me who it was. I don't have a clue.
It was your friend and mine, recently Juno nominated artist, now living in Edmonton, Kaylee Cardinal.
No way.
Yeah, for real.
She sang for No One's Alone.
She sang for No One's Alone, and it was
shout out Kaylee. That's
shout
crazy.
out Kaylee.
I did not know that. That's
and it was
incredible.
And it was so
such a
beautiful.
different thing,
Absolutely different
it would
vibe.
Such a completely different vibe. Yeah, totally. I would never have guessed that.
It was amazing. The shows that we played were just absolutely phenomenal.
No doubt.
So then at that time, what happened? Like 2005 and 6, like some of the band folks, wanted to move elsewhere, move to the big city. And so, it was just a natural kind of time where things just ended, Yeah. And the time with Kaylee and No One's Alone was incredible. I always, have a fond spot for that.
No doubt. I'd love to hear that. You don't have any of that recorded anywhere, eh?
Dude, somebody recorded some video.
I would really like to hear that. It's just, I can't even picture it,
I'm trying to think who. If I can think of who it was,
dig
if
that
they have
bad
it.
boy up
Yeah, it was incredible, man. So that summer, the other thing that happened was I like recently became single at the exact same time after being in a relationship for like 2.5 years or something. And so that was a big change. And so I was kind of
upside down. It can take away from your art, in a way when you're
sure. It's hard. It's hard.
Turmoil, man.
Absolutely, man. The thing is, musicians, like no matter what, we're all like sensitive to stuff, to life. Maybe
Poetic
even more
souls.
so. Poetic souls, exactly. And it took me a while to figure that out. But having spent a little time away from playing music, I started getting into the reason I was excited when you mentioned the apartment that you guys lived in was because that whole summer of 2006, I kind of spent playing with all the folk musicians in town, like Budiman, Emily, Julie Booth.
Right.
I feel like Renee Golemba. Man, I don't know who else. And all the folks around them, like Tom Booth, like the older generation of folks as well.
Just like lifelong musicians.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Yeah.
And so we would often end up jamming either downstairs at Retro Relics back in the day or upstairs in Julie's apartment.
Awesome.
Like so many kind of, days like after work or whatever, we just figure out,
jamming, right? Like,
hey, are we all hanging out? Yeah. Cool. We'll go to Julie's or something
like
like
a
that.
Lifestyle, man.
Totally. And it was amazing. Like I hadn't played that much acoustic guitar in a while.
Right.
I hadn't just freely jammed and, just played with other people in a while.
Like a different vibe than you're used to, eh? Like big time.
Exactly. Completely different vibe. Like the songwriting in No One's Alone was always like, initially it was like Cadle had a bunch of songs, and then very quickly, like Neil, is also a great writer. Neil Farnquist, shout out.
Yeah,
Great
Neil.
writer of songs and player. Like Neil and I had a bunch of musical ideas.
Right.
And all of those things coalesced to become No One's Alone. Like all of our flavors. And then, so that happened. And then the end of that summer, I felt like playing heavy stuff.
Right.
I think one of the shows that No One's Alone played was opening for, I think it's Wild Tea and the Spirit, I think.
Yeah,
you remember Wild
man.
T? He comes around here now.
We
and again.
opened for him before.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
And
He's
so,
like a mainstay at
Fred's.
man.
Exactly.
He's around once or twice a year.
Yeah, you bet, man. And we ended up, I think maybe Justin, Staffen, and myself, we kind of ended up closing out the bar with John and the staff and the band. I don't know. I'm not sure why. I think we were just all having a good time hanging out, talking to the band and just all that kind of stuff. And we ended up jamming like as the bar was, as they were like cleaning up essentially.
Yeah.
But everyone had a good time. Like, so we ended up jamming for like an hour and a half. Just, I don't even know what, it was like a reggae keyboard player, myself, Justin on drums.
Just playing
who knows?
whatever.
Absolutely.
Feel it out.
Yep. And
fun though, right?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then Justin and myself kind of felt like, man, playing is good, and so somehow we decided we would maybe jam some heavy stuff.
Just getting onto the metal band.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And so that's how that began. So fall of 2006.
So it was you and Justin who originally...
Justin and myself conceived of what was then known as Death Before Dishonor.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Became
Calculated
Collapse. Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yep. That's what that was. So 2006 to 2009, or I should say, fall, winter 2006, we began. We started playing shows spring 2007, and 2007 to spring 2010, we pushed it super hard.
Sure.
That was the Calculating Collapse time.
When you guys were touring and stuff like that, yeah.
You bet.
Cool.
Which is amazing. Writing, recording, playing a ton of shows.
Would you call that like the high point in your musical endeavors in terms of like a performance artist?
Perhaps. I feel like the busiest times that like Prevail and No One's Alone had in the scene, like whether that was 2004 or something, yeah. That was a peak, and then the 2008, 2009 No One's Alone time, I think, were as well. Just because, as you described with Prevail, like you hit a stride sometimes where you are part of a musical movement of some sort, whether it's like you're part of a sound, you're part of a scene that's hip right now. And so for us, there was
something going on back then.
Exactly.
Like it was just a buzz around the scene.
It was a buzz, absolutely.
I mean,
yep.
As far as I know, I don't think there's been that much of a local music buzz in Grand Prairie since then. But that's
sure.
I don't know if that's like my lack of knowledge on the scene. Like there's been bands that have like huge buzz, like guys like the Northbloods, for example, now and stuff.
Always, yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like the whole scene was alight, and there was like 10 bands around. There was some young guys doing things like. Forgive me for not remembering all the names of the bands, but I remember playing with lots of bands, man, that had lots of gigs around town. And
Overture, those guys were like 15 at the time.
Yeah, young guys, right? Like
fantastic.
It was just a different vibe, man. It was like it was like the age of the garage band, man.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean? Like it was everybody can be in a band kind of time, and it was
and people did,
and it was like the beginning of social media, things like
Totally. I think we were all on MySpace, right?
And all
our bands had MySpace pages.
You can kind of self-promote your band now, and like it was like a new thing, right? And it just allowed a lot of young guys to get out there and just feel like they were, pushing into like the music scene, like even nationwide, or like
absolutely
because they were like had this presence online, and it was becoming a thing. You know,
totally, man.
It was super fun, man.
It was absolutely. Those would be the two peaks, I think. Calculating Collapse definitely fit into the heavier end of like the the metalcore or like the new wave of American heavy metal scene. Like that was when Killswitch were at the top of their game. Lamb of God, all those bands.
For sure.
Yeah, and that was one of the last times I remember playing like packed all ages shows too. Whether it was here, Edmonton, Peace River, we played in.
I remember
Falare,
you guys being a huge thing, man. Like you were like the scene in Grand Prairie for years at that time, right?
Yeah.
The scene was like quieter at that time.
Sure, it was.
You guys were at the forefront of it.
Yeah, there was a lot of support for heavy stuff.
Yeah, heavy
stuff. And so we had a bunch of bands come in. We traded shows with a bunch of bands.
Awesome bands came to town here, right?
Dude, again, the pinnacle is like that. I think fall 2009.
Yeah.
Misery Signals came through, but it was this incredible bill. And this was 2009, so just bear that in mind.
They
So
were
there
getting
was
started, some of these bands, right?
Misery Signals,
Yes.
Haste the Day,
Yep.
right? Sight and Sound, which had members of like Comeback Kid and a couple other things. There was another band whose name I can't remember. And then there was also Architects.
Architects. And they're a big deal these days.
The
right?
Architects, yeah. Now they're like just, I mean, platinum album selling, world touring kind of thing. Yeah.
For sure.
And they were amazing, man. That was a really cool tour. I'm so glad that came through here. But that was one of my favorite shows. Misery Signals are always
good bill to be on.
Yeah, man. It's good times. Anyway, I digress. But but that was me, 2006, 2009. What about you? What'd you do 2006, 2009?
Bought a house, worked, like I said before. I mean, I can't.
Oh, yeah, okay.
There wasn't much going on for me in that time. Like
life.
Yeah.
Work and life, yeah.
Trying to catch up with grown up stuff, I guess. Not that I really fell super behind, I don't think, from being in a band, but I could have been a little more ahead than I was. And I was like thinking that way, you know what I mean? Just like, I got to, buy my car.
Yeah, of course.
I'll get a brand new car and take on some financial responsibilities, like a mortgage, and
take on some debt,
pay
it off,
build credit, and build equity, and blah blah blah.
All the stuff
that fun non-musical stuff
that you got to do when you're 24, 25, 26. I know.
So that happened, and I mean, from then until probably, I don't know, 3 years ago, I was like totally out of touch with music altogether.
Absolutely. Tell me about, let's see, because also at some point you went to school to become a chef. Like you're like a Red Seal chef or something?
I'm not actually a Red Seal chef.
No.
I'm a second-year apprentice chef. So but that actually happened before I ever really got heavy into music.
Oh, it was. Oh, I see.
It was way back in the day, man.
I see.
That was actually like
after.
Before I think you know what I had met Staffin at that point, and I was jamming with Staffin and Bo, and I took a little hiatus from that to go to school because I was cooking at that time.
Okay,
yeah, that was a long time ago. So that was probably like 03, 02.
Oh, geez.
Like before Prevail,
before everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Incredible.
And I just did that one first year schooling for just like an apprenticeship, couple months in Edmonton. So that I never really did that after that. After I came back from that schooling, I just fell into a different job and got out of the whole cooking scene. But I love to cook, still to this day. But as a profession, it's fallen by the wayside.
Sure.
Yeah.
What drew you to cooking or like going to school for cooking in the first place?
You know what? Honestly, when I was in high school, I had a job flipping burgers, man. Or like, I was cooking.
A line cook. Yeah.
I was a line cook at the Humpty's restaurant in Valley View.
Oh man.
Like 5 hours a night, like 3 or 4 days a week, just part time in it. Like honestly, and I was a part of the registered apprenticeship program to get some credits.
Oh, cool. That's
great. I
was
a bum. Like I said before, I was hanging out in the music room all the time instead of actually like doing school. So I mean, I had to make up credits there to graduate. So I hit the registered apprenticeship program.
Yep.
And I started doing that stuff. And I thought, I was doing it for work after school a little bit out of high school. I thought, well, I'll just like progress my career and like get certified or whatever. And it fell apart, but I was just kind of just rolling with it.
Sure. Yeah. Tell me about food. Are you a foodie? Is that something? Because we've talked about food before. We've talked about
I would say I'm a foodie.
Delicious stuff.
As much as one can be in northern Alberta, you know what I mean? Like,
sure, I understand. Yeah.
The diversity and quality of food is not necessarily here what it could be or what it is in major centers. But
absolutely.
Yeah, while traveling for sure, I do like to take in the most well-reviewed food that I can find. And I'm cooking. I love to cook. So
Nice.
I do all the cooking at home.
Awesome. What are you drawn to a certain kind of cuisine as far as cooking goes, or do you like a bit of everything?
I wouldn't say so. I'm pretty open-minded. I love trying new things, new like ethnic foods and regional cuisines and things like that. Just trying new recipes, whatever's like hot topic stuff, man. Like that the celebrity chefs are getting on. I like to just get a little taste of what's new and what's good out there, man.
That's cool.
Yeah.
See, that's like a next level foodie kind of clue, like talking about celebrity chefs. You know what I mean? Like, because the people who like to eat, they're like, hey, I love going to restaurants. But then, like, if you keep up with like chefs,
we talk about
like
Bourdain,
on YouTube and stuff,
this guy's a freaking legend, man. And like,
Yeah, man.
You know, I got into Bourdain late. Like a lot of people were on the Bourdain train like 10 years ago, and I'm more like a 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. I got into Bourdain. You know what I mean? I'd say about 2014. You know, when he was doing his like No Reservations and stuff. Yeah. I think he had another show before that. Parts Unknown.
That's later. I think he had like Chef's Tour or something like that.
No Reservations. No Reservations. Was it? Or?
No Reservations was the big one.
The final one that he had, right?
No. No Reservations. Parts Unknown was the final one. Oh. No Reservations was the one that blew him up essentially.
Okay. That's where I started watching him around there, like 2014. But then Parts Unknown took off like 8 years or something, right? 2 or 8 seasons anyway.
Yeah, man.
But like so that Bourdain thing, and I started to this day, I'm still discovering a lot more about him and his work and stuff.
Absolutely.
But that kind of got me into you know, the aspect of like you know, food and culture and travel all in one, and like politics and everything, and how just like I guess the cultural awareness of it all was super cool to me.
Absolutely.
And just how food is like a universal language and things like that. So
definitely
pretty neat stuff, man.
It's one of the beautiful things about Bourdain, and we've talked about some of this before, but his willingness to go to parts unknown, to places unknown,
get to the dirty areas too.
Absolutely, get everywhere and try. Yeah, and really, what it is break bread with everybody. I mean, there's so many amazing episodes where they don't speak the same language, but he, as a chef of his stature, is like learning from local people in villages and stuff. Just like sharing in the wonder of oh my gosh, like exactly. Enjoying the heck out of whatever they're preparing for him, because in most parts of the world that aren't like North America and parts of Europe, man, people have it tough compared to our
things are definitely
regular mode of life here, right?
Definitely different.
Very different.
To the point where, I think with CNN and with Bourdain, he brought into the average person's home a taste of culture that you wouldn't always get, like a real layman's culture, like what I mean?
Like regular people doing regular things.
Like real, you can see pictures of palm trees and think, I bet you it's cool there. But
exactly,
when you're going to talk to people and seeing the climate of the political climate and like the social climate of these countries, I think he really opened a lot of people's eyes to like how diverse the world is and how big it is. You know what I mean?
You bet, man. It's one of the things I love about his legacy now. It feels weird saying that.
Tragic, man.
His legacy is just that openness, that open-mindedness. Man.
You know what? I would say when I learned of his passing, it was probably, as far as like celebrities go, you don't know these people. But
of course.
I would say that one was one that I took the hardest of, like most any like passing of person that I'd never met.
Absolutely.
Like, man, the world lost someone special, I thought, when he passed away.
Exactly.
He just had like a way about him, man. He's such an entertaining guy. And
100%. Just a real character.
Just an ambassador, man.
Yeah, for real. Who are some other celebrity chefs that you're into?
Honestly, man, Matty Matheson.
Yeah, you're saying that's right.
Extraordinaire,
yes,
Matty Matheson.
That's right.
He's just a goofball, but I mean, he does have like a really great chef background too, and a great story. Like, I picked up his cookbook recently. I was telling you.
Oh yeah, you did. That's right.
He's got some it's like the kind of guy he comes off is he's got like tattoos all over. And he's a big. He take a picture of himself on the toilet, like naked,
exactly,
and put it on his freaking Instagram or whatever. It's like, this guy's a goofball, but like he's classically trained chef, and like he is. Like, his cookbook is beautiful. You know what I mean? It's got like a lot of traditional French stuff in it and things like that. It's a beautiful book, and like
absolutely,
he's a legitimate like a celebrity chef, man.
Definitely.
He's one of the real deal guys, and he just to watch him, he keeps it so real. He's such a you know what I mean?
Man.
He's such a real dude.
Definitely.
That kind of thing. More of the modern stuff, I'm not big on I'm not going to say Mario Batali or something like that. Like
right, Emerald.
Yeah, bam. Nothing like that, man. Nah.
That's right.
Gordon Ramsay.
Yep. Oh my gosh. One YouTube rabbit hole I fall into is just like clips from Kitchen Nightmares.
Right.
Or like, Ramsay freaking out, or Ramsay discovering
Snapping
something.
his lid,
Oh, absolutely. The other thing is like, he's like his heart is in the right place. He's just one of those people who, hey, I mean, he wears his emotions on his sleeve.
Definitely.
But every once in a while, I'll catch myself like unable to go to sleep, so I'll get up, open up the laptop,
burning for some Ramsay.
Exactly.
That guy's a character. I mean,
yes,
chef or not, he's just got something going on.
Oh, for sure.
It's hard not to watch him once in a while. I remember watching a few seasons of like whatever show, Hell's Kitchen or whatever.
Right. So funny. Oh my gosh, it's raw.
Yeah.
Classic, man. Cool. Food. Okay. Well, okay. Now I see. That was then. So you're working for the city. Life is happening. When, I don't know if this is too personal. Feel free to shoot this down and just be like, cover up the camera, be like, hey,
No flash photography.
That's right. Wait, no, come on. When did you and Megan meet? How long ago was that?
So we met 2012, late 2012.
Okay, got it.
Which is, I was out of music for probably 5 years at that point, I would say. We met just through mutual friends.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty good start. We went out for a beer. That was the first time we went out for a beer. And we just I remember picking her up at her house, went to Fred's, had a few beers, easy conversation.
Yep.
Just it felt instantly like the dialogue was just very laid back and comfortable, and you could just be yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
I remember one of the first things she told me was so strange. It's just something that you wouldn't. To me, if I was on a first date, I would never be confident enough to just
curious
say
now.
this.
Tell me.
So she said, I forget how we were talking about, how we got onto it, but she said, yeah, when I was a kid, my dad used to call me Lou Benza all the time because we had this neighbor named Lou Benza, and I thought his name was so funny as a little kid. And, it made me laugh when my dad said it, so he started calling me Lou Benza all the time. And I thought, what an oddball thing to say to someone you've just met 5 minutes ago.
That's
but
incredible.
At the same time, I'm like, this is awesome because
Absolutely.
this person is a real person. Just a real human being who's just keeping it real and not
totally
super trying to put on a front or anything.
Forcing conversation.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And then I remember, we met up with a couple of my friends at Fred's. We went down, we had a picture. We shared a picture, me and Megan, and we met up with old Richie Bell.
Shout out Richie Bell.
And a girlfriend of his at the time. And, it was an easy conversation. And I remember, having a conversation with Rich, who was my roommate at the time.
Oh, okay.
We lived together for a year and a half or 2 years. He was renting a room off me there for a while. And, we had a conversation later, and he was like, yeah, man, she seems like a really cool girl. And I valued Richie's opinion because he's a keep it real kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not one of those guys who would pump sunshine, man.
Right.
He would tell you a real opinion.
Absolutely.
And he was like, yeah, she seems like a cool person. You know what I mean? I was like, right on. Yeah, I thought so too, and we just kind of hit it off, started hanging out a lot. And from there on, it's been what,
yeah, absolutely
7 years or so.
Totally.
Married.
Absolutely married. 2 kids.
One of which is 4 months old.
One baby.
Yes, I'm 37 years old and I have a 4-month-old baby.
That's incredible.
It's crazy.
So Quinn is how old? 3?
Quinn is 3 and a little bit. Yep.
Oh,
2 girls.
Gosh. 2 girls.
My
That's
2 beautiful
amazing.
girls.
Oh man.
Yeah, daddy life is cool.
Right? Talk to me about fatherhood.
It was, I guess, who's not intimidated about becoming a dad?
Sure, of course.
There's 2 kinds of people in the world. People who are openly intimidated about becoming fathers, and people who are fucking liars, man. Right? That's all there is to it,
of course. Absolutely, man.
So,
absolutely.
I was firmly in the former camp.
Sure.
I had nothing to lie about. It was oh, wow, we're going to have a kid,
It's profound. It's huge.
For sure, right? And, the funny thing is, me and Megan had planned to get married, and we had set a date for, September. And we were going to have, an early fall wedding, and... surprise!
See, of course, that's just it.
You know what I mean? And it was
absolutely.
So you're a month and a half pregnant or whatever. We just found out, and it was like, okay, so, and she had already like picked out her dress.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
We're going to have the wedding early. So we we bumped her up like 3 months or something.
Yeah.
Like I think we got married in July.
Okay.
I want to say July 8th. Love you, babe.
Well,
something like that. You know,
I'll fix it in post.
It's the 6th. 6th. Final answer.
That's right. Final answer.
But you know what I mean. It was one of those beautiful days in July.
Of course. Yeah.
And I hope it's July. June? July.
Well, why don't you text her?
Forget about it.
Hey, I'm Arjun wants to know when our anniversary is.
Yeah. Just
hey, he just wants to know.
You tell him. So anyway, we got married there in the summer of 2016. What year was it again? 2016. Sure.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, we got married early because
beautiful.
I mean, because baby was coming, right?
Yeah.
She was actually 5 months pregnant at the wedding.
Oh, cool. Okay.
She was almost starting to show, and it's like, I didn't want it to be like a shotgun wedding scenario.
I understand.
Thing.
Yeah, of course.
It wasn't, but it was damn close. It was down to the wire. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that came along, and things went well, and I mean, baby came along, and it was almost a Christmas baby. Quinn.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, when's her birthday? November?
Are you trying to put me in a fucking bad situation here with all these dates, man? It was December 6th, 11:45 a.m.
I'll fix it in post.
11:45 a.m. December 6th, 2016.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Nailed it.
Yeah, it's a tough game we're playing.
I'm sorry, man. Me, hard hitting questions.
Yeah.
It's one thing that I'm known
60
for.
minutes or something here. What's going on?
Putting people on the spot, getting to the truth,
the fifth estate,
the heart of the matter. That's right. And that's the rest of the story.
Spot.
I don't know.
So yeah, daddyhood, pretty good, man.
Yeah.
And then after Quinn was born, within about a year, I started kind of like digging around for more music. I was like, talking to a few guys, trying to get back on the scene a little bit, in my dad kind of way. Like I wasn't like super into like a heavy duty scenario where I was going to be like jamming 3 or 4 nights a week. Or
You want like an easy lift, an easy situation where you can kind of
meet up with some buddies and start writing some music again. So like, I mean, I had a little rotating group of guys coming through. Like I reconnected with Jeremy Gustavson a little bit.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Did a little bit of jamming with him.
Yep.
A couple of guys that I had never met that were like on the current scene. I feel like I was a little too dad for them, though. You know what I mean? Like I was a little bit older than them. Like I was in my mid 30s, and they were probably in their mid 20s.
Right.
It was kind of not really a good fit.
Sure.
Some of them are phenomenal musicians and everything, and they were. I believe they're still rocking some stuff around here to this day. But it never really connected for me. And then I kind of reached out to a band who was looking for a bass player. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a good fit, but the guys are called Chiliocosm.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Chiliocosm.
Chiliocosm. They're in Calgary now.
Yeah, did they move to Calgary?
They're in
So we
Calgary
got
now.
Romer on the drums, and Chris was the vocalist, and Jason was the second guitar. And those 3 guys and myself were... I guess they had lost their bass player or to school or something like that. And so I stepped in for like, I want to say probably 4 months or something, or 5 months. And I learned 10, 12 songs they had. And I probably played 6 to 8 to 10 live shows with them. Had a lot of fun. It's kind of like this like groovy punk rock.
Yeah.
Like,
Totally.
really cool groove and sound, man. Like, and heavier stuff too, like good rock and tunes. Tight band, man. Like I had a lot of fun. I was like very privileged to be able to play with them guys. And it just like rekindled my like, I was like, man, why did I not like at least play in some capacity?
Sure.
Like for my whole life. Why bother not doing that? Because it's such a great creative outlet, man. Like it's just for the soul, man.
Absolutely.
So I guess from then on, I just decided that there's always going to be time in my life for like music in some capacity.
Understood.
Yep.
How long did you play with Chiliocosm for? Because I think I saw you guys play.
Oh yeah. So I ran into you. I reconnected with you after like 10 years, probably.
Yeah, because we used to live around the other side of the world,
right?
And then we moved back, or we came back for the summer to Grand Prairie in 2017. Ended up staying for we'll see how long. And
still here now.
I'm still here now. That's right. Like to
But yeah, it was probably like late 2017 we connected, right?
Yeah,
like,
you bet. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, having not spoken to each other for like probably the better part of 10 years.
Easily, absolutely.
We I mean, you were at a show. You saw me come off a stage just doing a little jam with Chiliocosm there, and yeah, we caught up, and then we kind of like, I think I reached out to you again after that, and I was like, hey man, you know, I've been thinking about. So we went for a beer.
Yep.
Me and Arjun went for a beer, right? And we started talking about, and I had some ideas. I've been digging this like indie rock thing and this like synth rock stuff, like synthesizers and things like that, and just kind of like this new wave that's coming in of all this like 80s revival synth stuff.
Exactly. All that glorious
just
synth
even
pop.
Just classic indie rock through the years has been speaking to me more, maybe in my old age or I don't know what, but as my tastes have changed and matured a little bit, I just get more into that stuff. And So I kind of like pitched to Arjun a little bit about like, yeah, maybe we should just like casually just write some tunes together when we have some spare time. You know what I mean? And it's been an ongoing thing. We've been just
absolutely. Yep.
Tinkering at it for probably a couple of years now.
It has been a solid couple of years.
There's been a couple breaks we've taken for like 6 months when life happens.
Oh my gosh.
But it's a lot of times it was like every couple weeks or whatever, get together and just spend 3 or 4 hours just mostly shooting the breeze, but recording
jamming on some recording,
away and
and I think one of the things that I think drew us together also was that we had started talking about synths specifically, and like my time in Valencia was full of synthesizers. Shout out to Berkeley fam, Nacho Marco, all the OGs. And so I had just been thinking about synth a lot. I had a great time getting into the analog synth world. And so suddenly, you kind of brought up like, hey man, I've been digging the synth stuff. And I thought, synthesizers, yeah.
Especially in a small town like this where there's like not necessarily a lot of like
totally
like progressive thought when it comes to like art, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So like it's like really hard to connect with like too many people on that like level of like a sort of cutting edge like music,
Absolutely. And given the kind of thing that you want to do, even technically speaking, right? Like I could probably count on my hand, the number of people in town who have like a certain amount of synth gear, right?
And an interest in it.
Exactly, an interest in like the synth game. And so that was cool. Also, I just realized that around the same time, my life was upended. I feel like we started hanging out. I'm pretty sure we started hanging out with Megan as well. Or no, or were we always like, hey, we should get the wives together? And
we tried. We talked about it when I first connected.
Exactly.
With you. We had spoke about like doing a couples thing. Like,
absolutely.
And at that same time, it was kind of like a really tumultuous time for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your relationship. I didn't really know much about it at the time, but I mean, you were pretty open with me when it happened. We sort of started connecting musically and stuff right at the same time that you were going through that rough transition in your life. So
definitely. And again, like, I can only thank yourself and Megan for, hanging and being cool. And it's one of those things where like, like I value like our connection and our friendship and stuff like that. And also like, I know it's like hard to be around people when they're going through a bunch of shit, like especially when like their life has fallen apart and their families disappeared and all that kind of bullshit. And so, it was great to just be able to hang out, just like hang out with people, like with no agenda.
It was easy, man. Like it's not, it's one of those things as you get older, you realize that people like need people there for them, man. And it's like, totally freaking, as sometimes it's hard to be around those people in those situations, but when you're on the other side of it and you're experiencing it, you realize how lonely it can be, man. You know what I mean?
It's
one of those things that's really hard not to. You have to go through it by yourself, but it's always awesome to be able to have someone there to support you and just be around no matter what, man.
For sure, man.
And like musically and just chilling,
Yeah,
like we did some dinners and things like that, and
that's just it, man. No, I'm very appreciative of that. That was really good.
I'm just as appreciative of those times as you are.
Thank you, man. And that led to further good times, with the synth business. So I was asked like the what's next question towards the end of kind of my bullet points here, but what's next? Should we come out?
We're lovers.
Should we? Yeah, that's right.
It's not that kind of coming out.
No, of course. We're
synth lovers.
We're synth lovers together. Together we love synth. And, I don't know if, I think I had the intention before I went to India to like put together a bunch of teasers and be like, new music. And so we collabed on like the first of those, and then I just ran out of time.
Right.
But so we are collaborating on a synth rock EP that will be out in the next couple of months.
Yep.
Not maybe the end of February. It's a maybe, but definitely by March.
We've definitely amped up the production of the record.
Absolutely.
We've kicked it into high gear recently.
You bet.
Here.
Yep.
So yeah, we're working on a few tunes and pretty excited.
Absolutely.
Some guitars, some synths.
A lot of synth, actually.
Probably mostly synth, yeah.
Yeah, I think this love of synth kind of just led to like, slowly like, this space, this undisclosed location, all the musical equipment kind of creeping around. Yes.
The beat cave.
The beat cave.
That's what it is.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Awesome. There you go. Done. The beat cave.
That's what it is.
That's right. Wherever this is. we just set up all of our synths and just started rocking out. And also because, we play guitar and bass and all this kind of stuff, and
a lot of the music that we're influenced, or that like specifically me that I'm influenced by is some of it is guitar driven and like layered with synths. So we're just kind of experimenting with it all. And right now this project is basically just us like expanding our horizons into that like synthy area and just
definitely
playing around, figuring things out.
Absolutely. The cool thing is it's like it's a real blend of kind of what we used to do, which is like guitar and rhythm section based some kind of rock music, but it draws on like all the influences. And I gotta say, like, I got into so many newer bands through our jamming together.
Sure.
Like all the all the Spotify links you'd send me and stuff like that. Like, oh my gosh,
of like sitting here and listening to music for like 4 hours straight.
Absolutely. And then finding cool patches on our synths.
Yep.
Writing some music. And so it's a good blend of that. It's like, some guitar based drum stuff, but then a lot of synth. So it's not like a classic analog, modular synth album. It's not like that, but
it's like a fusion type thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say we were talking about Metric earlier. Metric is kind of a good example. It's one
of the big influences there, like a combination of like guitar-driven rock and electronic beats.
Absolutely.
And, synths. Layered synths is like the thing we're trying to just expand our horizons on. And
definitely.
And I think as we keep working on this project, it's just more and more is like the light bulb is turning on, for us. Just learning about this stuff because it to me, it's the future of music, a lot of it right now.
Totally.
The way things are moving is a lot of people are using synthesizers and things, and they're just so much fun to play with.
Absolutely.
They're so cool to play with. So
it's making cool sounds.
It's just
cool patches.
It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. So look forward to that. I'll drop some updates for real this time on my Facebook artist page, Arjun Roy Music. Check it out. Like it if you want to stay updated. I will continue to upload these Hometown Hustles to YouTube as well as Facebook. And yeah, we will make some music. We'll finish some music to unleash on the masses.
Super excited to have a little jam for you guys to listen to.
Yep, some tasty jams. So now, what's next? What's next for you?
I've got to move here.
That's right.
I'm just like taking off to Edmonton here.
Yep.
Just decided, me and the fam decided it's time to just like move on to the big city. Yeah, man. What's the big city to me anyway?
Yeah, for sure.
We're kind of excited about it. Like, for one, musically too, I'm hoping to, meet some new people down there and get just keep going with things and just expand my horizons. But in terms of careers and just life in general, just maybe a few more newer, bigger experiences for us.
Sure.
A little more culture, a little more art in our lives than we get isolated up in the north here. So
certainly,
try it out.
Man, there you go. Well, this seems like a great place to end the conversation, like a natural. Like a precipice, like a cliffhanger, like we've set up some stuff, you're moving, we're still trying to make a record. If this were like a clickbait kind of channel, then like the next video would be like talking head interviews about how, how we're struggling to make this album because you're moving away and I'm traveling all the time. And,
and
we're like, I just
fabricated drama there.
Exactly.
For sure.
It's okay. Maybe, we'll see. We won't believe, situation number 2.
Just like, yeah. Is it going to happen?
Is it going to happen?
We're going to get this out by the end of February.
Guys, I got to shut down the studio, guys. Listen. Oh my gosh. We'll see.
We'll crowdfund this next one.
Crowdfund.
Send me your money.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Look out for this music. If you enjoyed this, please hit subscribe, press like, share it if you wish, whatever. That is up to you.
Hope you'll check out our new tunes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm sure they'll be available on Spotify and YouTube.
All the usual places. The Facebook, the Spotify.
We'll have a band name even and all this shiny stuff.
Yes, band name and like band fonts and colors, some
maybe some animal print.
Animal print. Oh, it sounds great. Sounds great.
Who knows what the future holds?
Oh, the future is bright, I think.
I think so.
It's a great spot to end it. Well, thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for chatting. This has been great. Both the audio-only section of our conversation as well as the video and audio
half.
Exactly. Both were equally amazing. And thank you for sticking around and watching this.
Well,
Good
thanks
night.
for having me, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Like I said, we'll catch up again soon.
If you're still here after this long-winded session,
That's right.
thanks for listening. Good night
Awesome.
and good luck.
Good night and good luck.